Hey guys, today is Saturday, September 19th. The time is 3 p.m. and the temperature is 13 degrees Celsius. I have just turned south onto Leslie Street from Lakeshore Boulevard. And the plan for this ride is to head south down to Tommy Thompson Park, where I'll ride to the end of the park and then turn around and come back along the southern edge of the park. And hopefully I'll actually be able to capture the footage correctly this time, as this is my third time this year trying to record a walk through Tommy Thompson. So this is something of a cursed ride. On my first attempt, which was back in May, or around the end of May, I think, my GoPro acted up and didn't record the footage correctly. Let me just get around this family here. And then I came here last weekend, and unfortunately I didn't set the correct ISO level on my camera. For some reason I had locked it in at 100, and the footage was pretty much unsalvageable. So here I am again. Hopefully this one won't be too screwed up. And Tommy Thompson Park begins just south of these traffic lights here. And this is the coldest afternoon I've experienced in quite a while this year, but it's really not too bad for cycling.
No, let's continue. That's shocking to do.
Looks like the entranceway to the park is undergoing some construction. Unfortunately, during the weekdays, the pedestrian bridge, which we'll get to maybe in about 10 or 15 minutes or so, has been closed. So it really hasn't been the best time to come here. And also, this park doesn't open till 4 p.m. on weekdays. One of the neat things about this park is there are several spots where you get a rather spectacular view of the city skyline. And the park itself is also something of a accidental nature preserve. Most of this land south of Lakeshore is actually man-made infill. And this part of Leslie is known as the Leslie Street Spit, as it's considered a continuation of Leslie Street. And they started filling in the land in the 50s, and over the next 4 decades or so, they've been gradually filling it in more and more. And one of the original intentions was to provide added port space for the shipping vessels that would come in through Lake Ontario. As in the late 50s, they opened the St. Lawrence Seaway, which allowed vessels to come in from the ocean onto the Great Lakes. But one of the problems with that was they didn't foresee the container revolution. So a lot of the way things were transported changed dramatically around that time. And the demand for large shipping ports by the lake was not what it was expected to be. So eventually, it was just decided that this would be turned into a large park. There's a marina just into the right here. I'll see if I can turn down one of these little trails that lead off from the right here and get a look at the skyline. As I know this camera angle is quite fixed, looking straight ahead.
Yeah.
Now let's go take a look down here for a second. There will be a fair amount of riding on these gravelly surfaces on this ride. Perhaps my skinny road tires aren't best suited for this environment, but I've been here several times. It's never been a problem. Also, soon after they started filling this land in, a number of different plant and tree species started popping up, and a number of birds started to call this area home. So it's quite well known amongst bird watchers. And there are signs at the entrance that do state you are not to bring your pet into the area. That probably has something to do with the natural ecosystem here. And it's not uncommon while riding through this park to see a snake slither across the ground in front of you. That's happened a number of times to me in the past. This area on the left here is where I'll be coming back on. There's a turnaround point up ahead. Seems to be a lot busier this week than it was last week when I came here, which is weird because it's a good 7 or 8 degrees colder. Like some kind of marshland in here. Let's just take a quick look. It's kind of neat. You got a view of the northern part of the skyline. That would be Unwin College, where that large tower straight ahead is. And a lot of sailboats having some fun off in the distance.
Grandma.
Now, see you.
If you are planning to come here and walk the park, you might as well make a day out of it, as it's quite big. I'm always amazed that there's so many people that find their way to the end of the park and back. And it's not particularly well lit. And by that I mean there's absolutely no lighting whatsoever. So now that we're at the end of summer and it's getting dark quite early, you'd certainly want to come here a bit earlier than you could get away with during the middle of summer. I think the park's open till 9 or 9:30.
I have a problem.
And just up ahead is the pedestrian bridge.
Do we have to stick together?
It does say to dismount. I think for a lot of people, the view from this bridge is one of the highlights of Tommy Thompson, so we'll get a good look.
No, I'm good. You can look at it.
And that's the other side I'll be coming back on.
We're going scuba diving for fun. I think I got something in my throat. All right, so the next stop will be the lighthouse that sits at the end of the park.
It's not one of those classic lighthouses. It's a cement lighthouse that was built in the early 70s. Not entirely sure on that, but I think it's still used to guide ships into the harbor front. It sits on top of a hill just at the end of this path here, and it can be a bit difficult to see as it's covered in trees or surrounded by trees, however you want to say it. So coming back, here's where I'll want to turn down to go back in the other way, that path that jutted off just to the left there. And this is the first day I haven't cycled with shorts in a long time. Although I think I would have been fine if I just had them instead of these jeans I'm wearing. Another ride I'm still planning to do is the islands. So hopefully I can get out and do that in the coming weeks. I've had this one on the list before. I do that one, but fate kept stepping in. And I think this year I'll continue to do rides all throughout the winter. I'm still looking at getting an e-bike as well. Winters really aren't that bad here. It's really more of a battle, or a matter of battling the colder winds. The roads are generally dry for most of it. I'll just have to throw a fender on the back of this bike, and I think it should be good to go. All right, so we're at the end. You can't see it, but straight ahead is the lighthouse. There's kind of a gravel ring that leads around it. It's officially marked as an unassumed road. This trail up here would go to the lighthouse. Kind of neat seeing a freighter so up close. You have to be a little careful. It's not uncommon to see people going counterclockwise around here. I've certainly done it. There's a lot of rocky beach areas just down to the right from here. in this area. At the end here is kind of a popular hangout spot, although it doesn't seem that busy right now. It's kind of a good place to sit down and contemplate life. There's a lot of sailboats out right now. And the lighthouse should be straight up here. See if we can get a look at it. Maybe I should have just left my bike at the bottom of the hill. Too late now. Clearly, some people have made their way in there. It doesn't look like it's still functional. I heard that it was. Sorry if it's not the best camera view. It is strapped to my chest. And I think riding down that on that is not such a good idea. But I am kind of an idiot, so maybe we'll try. Actually, I think riding would be safer than walking. I don't have much footing here. I was about to hop on my bike, but I felt the wheels starting to slide. Yeah, that's just a stupid idea. I know that part's gonna cue a lot of people saying, why don't you get a mountain bike? Or a bike with some better tires, but really that's the only time that would have been useful pretty much of all the rides I record. So I'm not really sure that's worth it for 10 minutes of being able to do that. She looks kind of bored having to push her bike through the park with her friend who clearly doesn't have a bike. One thing you will notice about this park is that it is remarkably clean. And yet there's an absence of trash bins and recycling bins. So it's kind of a testament to the people that visit here. And those people on those shared bikes are certainly on a limited timer, as you only get 30 minutes once you take one of those things out before you get dinged with an overage charge. These bikes here.
One of the last things on the list.
And here's our turnoff. So this way back will be different than the way I came up. We're going around the south edge of the property. And if I'm not mistaken, we're actually just about as far south as the Toronto Islands right now.
I guess you just have to.
The road conditions are also not the greatest around this part, but that adds to the fun. There's always a lot less people around this part of the park. So if you're looking to come here and have a picnic, I'd recommend heading out to this side, even though you do forego that great skyline view. There's a nice little rocky beach area just up ahead. And there's several trails like this one you could wander down. Don't know how well the camera's getting this. If you saw my ride from Scarborough Town Center to Union Station, the camera was a little bit more off center than I'd have liked, so I apologize for that. Normally I try to be really careful about these things before I take off, especially on such a long trip, but whoops. And there are a few shortcuts where you could circumvent going around this whole thing and cut straight to the other side, the trail that I came up on through here, but I think they're closed right now. There was a bridge at one point that cuts across. Perhaps one of the best aspects of this park is how remote it feels. It very much feels more like a provincial park than the City of Toronto park. Whoa! I kind of anticipated that kid cutting across from me. Hopefully his mom wasn't mad at me. And that's a learning opportunity for that kid. Can't even see the time right now. So unless I film a bike ride on my way home, which I think I have to do as they're running shuttle buses again on Yonge Street, as they so love to do on weekends, this will probably be the last video I film today. Just off to the right here is a rocky beach area. You can get a pretty nice view. That water looks like almost like it's turquoise. This would be another great picnic spot candidate. That looks like some kind of natural gas or oil rig out there too. And way off in the distance there are the Scarborough Bluffs. And I forgot to mention, on the other side, opposite of the lighthouse, would have been the Golden Horseshoe area. So that would have been the part of southern Ontario all the way up to Niagara Falls. And I am connecting back to where this all started. And maybe what I'll do, since we're making good time and it's not been much over half an hour, is I'll head down the Unwin Connector to Cherry Beach. So I'll get a bit of a 2-for-1 going on this ride. Might as well, I'm all the way down here. One of the reasons this park is closed till 4 p.m. on weekdays is that the northern part is still undergoing construction. Eventually, that part will as well be turned into parkland. I might have cut it a bit too close with that guy. Whoops. Hey, I don't claim to be perfect, folks. And I was really in no danger of hitting them. So I'll turn off of this part here, which connects down to the entrance. Before I get all the way north to the entrance, I'll turn left and I'll head over to the connector. I love how that couple was riding side by side with their child in front, like they had some kind of protective triangle going on. It's plenty wide here, so there's no reason not to do something like that. And if you haven't seen it, I did post a video of the new Toronto sign that just went up yesterday. I posted that one last night after a live stream. I'm still not sure if I like it or not. I've looked at it side by side with some other pictures I've taken. And it's definitely a lot thinner than the old sign. And the spacing between the letters is a lot further apart. So hopefully it's something I grow to love. If not, I guess that's just my personal problem. Or it could just be one of those things that I look at and forever wonder why they ruined it. From now until I die, who knows? I do know that if I commissioned that sign myself and said, hey, can you build something exactly the same as the old one, just upgrade it so it's more weatherproof and a little more advanced, and they delivered me that one, I would refuse and send it back and say, no, this isn't at all what the original one was. And they'd probably look at me cross-eyed like I was an idiot. And I'm not normally the person to send stuff back. If I order a medium rare steak and they bring it to me medium, I usually just bite my lip and eat it. It's kind of a first world problem there. But it just kind of bugs me that they changed an icon for some reason. I'll stop grumbling about that. So I've branched off towards Cherry Beach. So this part of the trail here is just a few years old. If you used to want to go from Tommy Thompson to Cherry Beach, you'd have to go along an old industrial road that runs parallel to this. Although the trail looks fairly weathered already. I remember riding down here last year and it looked like it was freshly paved.
Ready? Like last summer?
So in a few minutes, we'll be in Cherry Beach. Then I guess I'll ride south along Cherry Street through the Portlands and into downtown and probably call it a ride. And then thanks to these shuttle buses, I'll have to ride back up to Yonge and Eglinton. And tomorrow, Yonge Street is closed to traffic as part of an expanded active TO program. But I think there'll be shuttle buses again, so that's not very good timing.
Like an incentive.
Oh. That was a failure of the cheap bell there. And if you'll recall on my last ride, I had left my nice polarized sunglasses on the bench at Scarborough Town Center before I took off. So I'm wearing an older pair now that are quite dark. Actually, don't think I'll wear these anymore for riding. I can't really see much. Can't even remember when or where I got them. So I think Cherry Beach has started just to the south of here. This will kick us out around the parking lot area. And I'll swoop down and take a quick look at the beachfront. There's a large picnic and barbecuing area just off to the right here. And towards the end of summer, the police were enforcing a curfew here as there were a lot of large gatherings and parties being held. It's been unfortunate when people can't listen to public health orders, and then everyone else has to lose out. Let's take a look at the beach itself. There's a sign that says Beach Water Quality Hotline, so if you're curious about the quality of the water, there's a way to check in. It probably fluctuates by quite a bit, which is why they have a hotline set up. And now it's south down Cherry Street through the rather industrialized Portlands area. There are some entertainment complexes on the left here. And this is where the drive-in movie theater is. Well, I can't recall the last time it operated. And there used to be a Asian supermarket called TNT here. But Loblaws took it over and closed this particular location. When I used to live in the St. Lawrence neighborhood, which is just north of here, I would come there from time to time. It wasn't that far. And I suppose I could be on the bike path on the right. There it is on the left. A big drive-in movie screen. It's also a golf driving range. And I think I see a number of people teeing off right now. I remember coming here for a corporate event. There was a large go-kart track. I spent most of my day doing that, wearing some disgusting sweaty helmet that numerous other people had worn that day. That's just part of what you sign up for when you go go-karting. You get a spectacular view of the city coming down this way. That's the Cherry Street barbecue on the right. It's a rather popular spot to get a drink in this area. So what I'll be able to do is take Cherry Street north all the way into where the distillery district is. So this is Lakeshore Boulevard East. I could have stayed left there and headed along Queens Quay back into downtown. Had to make sure they weren't honking at me. Yeah, go screw yourself, buddy. I'm allowed to be here. Although I think he was actually honking at that SUV. So this is the distillery district on the left. But I will be turning left onto Mill Street here. Just to the right is the Canary District. I've recorded through there a number of times. I suppose I could have gone straight here. I'm going to head to Front Street. But I always kind of like riding along this part of Mill Street in front of the Distillery District. Jaguar, Mercedes, Toyota, Nissan. This is always a popular area on weekends. And what are you doing? Just because you put your four-ways on. Thank you. What is this on the left? Is that a Lotus? So this is Front Street East. I'm now heading directly towards the Sun-On. I thought that pair of kids there was with that couple walking their dog. Maybe that's a mom and a child, actually. Yeah, it is. Whoops, my bad. I was like, they're kind of young to be out on their own. So I'll be ending this ride just up ahead here. When I get to the spot where I'll be having some lunch. don't seem to be having the best luck with these streetlights. So this is Sherburne Street. The video that should be uploaded by the time you see this is a walk that heads north up Sherburne to Bloor Street, starting right here. And I have arrived.
Nobody move. Am I right? Yeah. Hey, when my voice move, nobody will move, yes?
I don't know.
Ah, you don't know?
There we go. Gonna grab some lunch. Thanks for watching. There are links to my Patreon if you wish to support the channel in the description, and my Instagram. Don't forget to leave your thoughts and comments below. Hope you enjoyed this ride along Tommy Thompson Park to Cherry Beach. Thanks again, and I'll catch you on the next one.